How strong is Naruto post-nerf? As in, what's his power level after losing Kurama? Now of course we can take the lazy option and just say he's now pain level for some weird reason, but that would be us being disingenuous. So I think we can make a logical conclusion by starting from the beginning, as in using his base genetics. Naruto being an Uzumaki who are descendants of Ashura Otsutsuki naturally possess an incredibly long or incredibly strong life force and immense chakra reserves. This enables him to survive and endure much more severe injuries, while likewise be able to recover from such injuries and exhaustion with greater efficiency in short periods of time. This is why Uzumakis were chosen to be the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki throughout the centuries, with Mito Uzumaki being the first, Kushina Uzumaki being the second, and Naruto Uzumaki being the last. Naruto's chakra reserves was stated to be over 4 times greater, again 4 times greater than Kakashi's by Kakashi himself during his Rasen Shuriken training arc, and that was in early Shippuden. And this was with the Nine-Tails chakra being completely suppressed by Yamato using wood release. So Naruto is still able to create thousands of shadow clones without Kurama, since he was able to create hundreds of shadow clones multiple times in one day using his own chakra back in early Shippuden, and we're talking about an Hokage Naruto over 19 years later. Not to mention that his chakra reserves have massively increased since then, because as Fukasaku stated, the 4th Hokage constructed the tetragram seal so that a little bit of chakra continuously leaked out of the Nine-Tails cage to be skimmed off in hopes of naturally becoming one with Naruto's chakra. And when Naruto removed the tetragram seal completely during the war, more of the Nine-Tails chakra would have continuously merged with his base over time. Fast forward to Boruto over 14 years or 19 years since the 4th Great War, and now having the other half of the Nine-Tails chakra reserves, that would have greatly increased along with his base stats, since the Nine-Tails chakra does amplify base stats as seen when Naruto utilizes the chakra, and this is because the Nine-Tails chakra itself is more potent. He would keep these amps even though Kurama is no longer with him, since at that point the chakra was a part of his chakra reserves, not Kurama's, which was Minato's entire plan from the beginning. Along with the fact that training also amplifies your chakra reserves and base stats, as explained by Sakura in part 1, where she states that chakras are, to put it simply, the energies that a shinobi requires in order to perform ninjutsu. Basically, these energies are 1. Those of the body drawn from each and every one of the approximately 13 trillion cells that are believed to make up the human body, and 2. Those of the mental and spiritual energy acquired over the course of training and experience. Those 2 forms of energy are what make up the chakras. So this means that your chakra reserves can in fact be increased through training, since training also increases your spiritual and mental energy, which we know Naruto did do a lot of training before becoming Hokage, which he has been for about 5 years out of the 14 or 19 years since the 4th Great War. So that's a lot of training before even becoming Hokage and becoming quote-unquote rusty. This massive increase in power would explain why he's able to block and tank attacks from Fused Momoshiki that just one-shot all the other 4 Kages in under 1 second while he's in base. Albeit this Fused Momoshiki was not going all out, since he was later able to contend with a fatigued six-paths Naruto who just tanked the attack at the stadium that knocked him unconscious and also had 50% of Kurama's chakra extracted. And he also contended with Sasuke, who transported over 8 people, which severely depleted his chakra reserves. So you could argue that Fused Momoshiki wasn't going all out, but Naruto and Sasuke were also fatigued, so they weren't at full power either. But for the mere fact that he was able to block and tank attacks from a Fused Momoshiki that completely one-shot, literally one-shot the other 4 Kages, that's a feat in and of itself, and there's no logical reason why he would punch Naruto softer than he would punch the other Kages. It just doesn't make sense. So while you could argue that he wasn't going all out to the fullest of his capabilities, you can't argue that he was going softer than he would have or than he did to the other Kages. It just wouldn't make sense. And these were the same Kages that were contending with Momoshiki and Kinshiki before they fused, so you know how strong they are because of their years of training. Naruto was also able to tank Kawaki's Ki Blast attack at point blank range while Kawaki was not holding back without even a scratch on his skin, while that same attack completely eviscerated Boru's body, the same Boru who tanked Boruto's Rasengan that barely bore a hole in his body. He was also able to contend with Karma Boruto while he was going all out, as he stated. So this Naruto scales in base to Karma Boruto and he wasn't even trying. And of course, we have to mention that this wasn't a full power Karma because he was in Karma version 1, so we have to take that into account. Naruto was also able to kick Ishiki with enough force to push him away from Boruto, the same Ishiki who completely overpowered him and Sasuke while they were at full power. And of course, this Ishiki was off guard for some reason even though he was mid-battle with these two guys. So he was off guard whilst having his Byakugan, which I think it wasn't active, so that might be a good excuse for him. But the mere fact that Naruto was able to push him back with enough force in base, this shows that he has enough strength to do so to Ishiki. And it's not like he snuck him from behind, he ran up to his face and kicked him from in front of his face while Ishiki had his dojutsu activated. So Naruto was able to kick him in his face in front of him while in base, and Ishiki wasn't able to dodge the attack. Now you could argue that Ishiki didn't think he needed to because it's Naruto and he's in base, but the mere fact that he was able to do it is a feat for Naruto. All of this puts base Hokage Naruto above any base versions of himself in Shippuden. Then we add Sage Mode to the mix, which is basically a base stats multiplier. Now Sage Mode itself utilizes Senjutsu Chakra. This form of chakra is created when you combine your internal spiritual energy, physical stamina, and natural energy or nature energy. Similar to how combining your physical energy with spiritual energy creates normal chakra, you're just adding nature energy to the mix. So all of these factors determine how strong your Sage Mode is going to be. Naruto being an Uzumaki who has a strong life force, enhanced stamina, and immense chakra reserves makes him the ideal candidate for Sage Mode, as Fukasaku explained, and adds to why he's the strongest user of Toad Sage Mode to date, maybe aside from Hagoromo. Now the form itself grants you superhuman strength to the point where Naruto was able to easily toss a giant rhino into outer space or wherever that rhino went. I don't know, it just went into the air and disappeared, so make up your own theories on that. He was also able to flip the full-bodied Ninetales on his back without breaking a single sweat, and damaged a Renegon and Jubi amped Jubito with a single larger than average Rasengan. And while the Ten-Tails can only be affected by Senjutsu Chakra, since it's also comprised of Senjutsu Chakra, that doesn't mean that any level of Senjutsu Chakra can damage it. The point I'm trying to make is that the attack itself also required strength and power, which Naruto displayed. Sage Mode also enhances the user's combat speed, reaction speed, and perception, to the point where Naruto was able to dodge an attack from the third Raikage while he was in his lightning release cloak that was stated to be almost the speed of light in the Naruto databooks. The funny thing is that he was not only able to dodge this attack but also attack the Raikage at similar speeds using his Rasengan, which means that his combat speed is relative to his reaction speed that scales to an almost light speed attack. Then you have Naruto stating that Sage Mode has a wider danger sense and it's faster than KCM, which means that its perception is better and it also has the speed to keep up with that perception. This scales Sage Mode higher than KCM in reaction speed and combat speed. And this is the same KCM that dodged the 4th Raikage while he was using his 2nd stage lightning release cloak. So these statements alone and feats really put Sage Mode up there when it comes to combat speed and reaction speed. Sage Mode also provides enhanced durability, recovery, and quicker healing as stated by Fukasaku himself. Now the extent to which Naruto can heal in Sage Mode is unknown, but it's an ability he does possess. It also affords him enhanced sensory awareness, which means that he is able to fight with his eyes closed, similar to what he did to the Animal Path versus Pain and what Madara did in the 4th Great Ninja War. So Naruto's current abilities are the Rasengan, Giant Rasengan, Rasen Shuriken, Toad Summonings, ability to use all 5 chakra natures, Shadow Clones, and of course, Sexy Jutsu. It is also possible that he has Wood Release with his Ashurama Cell arm that also enhances his regenerative abilities, but that remains to be seen. Now, as it relates to 6-path Sage Mode and 6-path Senjutsu and also the Chakra of the Tail Beast, I don't believe Naruto has access to any of those abilities anymore. And this is implied by him not using those abilities in the code fight, and also Sakura kinda saying that he doesn't have superhuman chakra anymore in the anime episode. Now, I know it doesn't make sense for Naruto not to have the chakra of the other tail beasts. I know that, trust me, but that's what they said. Basically by saying that he doesn't have superhuman chakra. That's the only thing they could be talking about. But we know deep down that Baryon Mode killed Kurama's chakra because that's what Kurama said, and we also know that Naruto directly received the chakra from the other tail beast into his body. That was his power for him to use, irrespective of Kurama. The Nine Tails was just the overseer of the gathering place as stated by Hagoromo himself. He wasn't the holder of their chakra. That was never stated. So we know the truth, but yeah, if they say he doesn't have it, then he doesn't have it. We just have to work with it. This is Boruto, so you know, it is what it is. However, I will say that it makes sense for him not to have 6-path Senjutsu, which I don't think he had at the beginning of Boruto, to be honest. And it also makes sense for him not to have 6-path Sage Mode because they apparently retconned the ability to include the powers of the other tail beasts. So if he doesn't have the power of the other tail beasts and Kurama, then he wouldn't have 6-path Sage Mode. All in all, I still think that with the power level he currently has and the speed I explained in this video, which was taken from the video I made before, so if you guys want to see the in-depth explanation of why he doesn't have 6-path Senjutsu, 6-path Sage Mode, you guys can watch the original video titled Current Naruto versus Current Sasuke post nerf. I'll link it above and below so you guys can go check it out to get the full in-depth explanation. I'm not going to do it here again because I already did it in that video, so yeah. But yeah, I still think Naruto scales above most of the characters in Konoha anyway. He's still the strongest adult in Konoha. Yes, he's still above Sasuke. I explain why in the video. I'll probably break it down. I'll probably make another video explaining why or where Sasuke scales currently post losing his Rinnegan and all, and also release a video explaining how Naruto would counter his abilities, because that's all explained in that long 58-minute video that I know most people didn't watch the entire way through. So I'm just gonna break it down into individual parts and post it individually. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about the analysis in this video. What do you guys think about Naruto's power level? Where does he scale in the powers he still has? Do you think he has more? There's potential for him to gain more, but they're never going to do it because it's Boruto. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.